Once you find out that you have Hashimoto's, the very first thing that you get to do is figure out why. Figure out what is behind this diagnosis, what's behind my body attacking my thyroid, my immune system going haywire, what's behind my symptoms. Is it my immune system? Is it my thyroid? What is going on? And then after you figure out what some of those root causes are, then of course you get to tackle them. That is your privilege. It's also your responsibility. Sometimes it can be really heavy. And then here's a little wrinkle. You know the logo of Health with Hashimoto's? It looks like a flower, right? With a butterfly in the middle. The butterfly represents your thyroid because your thyroid is shaped kind of like a butterfly. The 5 petals they were drafted by a Venn diagram, meaning the whole person, each part of that whole person, the whole you, body, mind, spirit, diet, environment. Each one of your root causes interacts with each of those 5 parts, and it also interacts with other root causes. Root causes end up stacking, and that is what this week's episode is all about. Hashimoto's is an autoimmune condition. That means your immune system is attacking your thyroid. But knowing that is only the beginning. This summer series is built in 3 phases. Phase 1 was understanding what's happening in your body. Phase 2 is learning how to think about what you're learning. And phase 3 is building your own personal discernment framework with support. So most women with Hashimoto's have a lot of information, but what they're missing is a filter, a way to evaluate what applies to them specifically. That is what this series is now designed to give you. If you want to start with a foundation, check with the show notes for Hashimoto's Decoded, new name, Hashimoto's Decoded, Thyroid or Immune. In less than 1 hour, I will walk you through the most common root causes and help you identify where to focus. My name is Esther Youngkin. I'm a registered nurse, holistic health educator, and the host of this podcast, Health with Hashimoto's. I believe your health is a blend of 5 interconnected areas: body, mind, spirit, diet, and environment. Let's work through this together. So yes, I did say root causes stack. They impact each other. They impact every part of the whole you. Like, you are not a simple bone. You're not a simple skeleton. As much as the orthopedic doctors of the world seem to want to think that you are just bones, you cannot isolate just one part of you. The orthopedic surgeons are just as wrong as the endocrinologists. You cannot be separated into one solo body part. Not only are you a symphony of different body parts and tissues and organs and all of these things working together, but you are also more than a body. Your body, mind, spirit, diet, environment, it all goes together. It all impacts all the other parts. And that includes root causes. So what does this look like in practicality? Well, here's a very simple example. Let's say that you are low on sleep. Of course, if you have Hashimoto's, you might be familiar with bone-weary fatigue. But I'm talking about you got a night of really poor sleep. This is different than your day-to-day. You got a really poor night of sleep. Well, what happens as a result of that poor night of sleep? Your blood sugar is not as well regulated the next day. Even if you're not diabetic, you do not have to be diabetic for having weird, wacky blood sugar in a day. Now, are you going to have as weird blood sugar as somebody who is diabetic, who doesn't have, all of the regulations in place in their body to control blood sugar? No, you're still going to have more control, but it is going to be more dysregulated than normal after a poor night's sleep. Also, when you have a poor night's sleep, the next day, your diet is different. Part of this is because of the blood sugar. You're getting hangry. You need some food. You need some food right now. Your brain is looking for quick sugar. Part of it is also willpower. When you are low on sleep, you have less willpower. So if you have all of these ideals for how you want your diet to be, especially after figuring out your root causes and figuring out, gluten is one of my root causes and I am going to go gluten-free. If you are tired, your willpower to stay committed to that decision is less. And then your blood sugar is going a little wild, and you put those 2 things together and you might reach for something that you wouldn't normally eat. So that is the impact, just some of the impacts that a poor night's sleep can have. Here's another example, and this one is more in depth. Let's say that you have some stressors in your life. I know, hard to imagine, right? So you have increased stress. What does that do? We're going to go through body, mind, spirit, diet, environment. We're going to go through three of those five. If you have increased stress, your body reacts, your immune system reacts, and your immune function overall goes down. Think of when you were in college. You had a lot of stress going into finals week. You might have stayed up late, so there's also some sleep issues going in. But what happened about 5 to 7 days after finals were done? You're back at home or you're on vacation, and all of a sudden you get sick. Maybe this didn't happen every time, but it probably happened at least once or twice to you or a friend. Finals happened, you were all fine, you went on vacation or you went back home, you're just chilling and you get sick. Why did you get sick at this time? Part of it is because when you were under the stressors, when your stress was increased, your immune system was prioritizing other things. Your immune system was not functioning at full capacity. Viruses, bacteria hit, and then they grew, they incubated, and then 5 to 7 days later, you're like, oh my goodness, why do I have symptoms? Why am I feeling so crummy? Because of the stress. Also, stress can increase the dysfunction of your immune system. Autoimmunity is your immune system going haywire. Increased stress can increase that immune system going haywire. That's just from stress. That's looking at the body. Just a couple examples in that body petal of the flower. What about diet? So I just talked about low sleep and how that can impact it. Well, when you are under stress, your intestinal permeability, so leaky gut, it increases. There are bigger gaps in between the little junctions of your intestines, and more things can get through. When more things get through, like let's go back to gluten. Let's say you eat some gluten. It normally doesn't bother you, but you're under a lot of stress. Your intestines have increased permeability. You eat that gluten. The gluten gets through in a bigger protein chunk than normally it should be able to when your intestines are nice and tight junctioned. I don't know if that sentence made sense, but the gluten gets through. And then your body is like, oh, this protein shouldn't be here. I'm going to attack this protein because I know this protein should not be in the bloodstream. I'm going to treat it just like any other invader. And then your body starts to identify gluten as an invader, and you develop like allergy symptoms. This is one thing that can happen when you are under stress. So that's the diet petal of the flower, the whole you, body, mind, spirit, diet, environment. Every single petal of the flower is impacted by stress, and it shows up in different ways. And then the different petals impact each other. Remember, my first example of this stress was your immune system in the body petal of the flower. And I gave the example of college, finals, stress, getting sick. Well, what I didn't say was that is also the environment petal, because your environment is where you picked up that bacteria or the virus. So you can see super simple how the environment and the body interact, those two petals of the flower. It's all so interrelated, and your root causes, they tend to stack. They tend to impact each other. So what do? You're like, Esther, you're just giving me more information. I'm feeling more overwhelmed. What in the world am I supposed to do with this? You're saying that everything is related to everything. And do you want me to tackle every single thing? I don't have the bandwidth for that. I don't have the mental space. I just want to turn off this podcast right now. Okay, don't leave me. Don't turn off the podcast, because there is hope. Just as one thing can negatively impact all of the other petals of the flower, the whole you, small changes for good can also impact everything else. Take diaphragmatic breathing, for example. You're lowering your stress. You're telling every single cell in your body to chill out. It's okay. Relax. You've got this. Diaphragmatic breathing impacts positively every other cell in your body. It impacts every petal of the whole you of that flower. So there are things that you can do positively, small, simple things. There are ways, even when you are feeling like your bandwidth is down to just a bare minimum, you don't have time or mental space for anything. There are things that you can still do to to influence every single part of the whole you for good. And if you want help building that picture for your own body and learning how to use it going forward, that is what Hashimoto's discernment coaching is designed to do. The link is down in the show notes, of course. And if you want to look at the stress, the petals of the whole you related to stress, there is an infographic on the blog post for episode 205. So you can take a look at that. And then, head down to the show notes, sign up for Hashimoto's discernment coaching. I'll see you inside. This podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. Please discuss any changes with your trusted healthcare provider. To take your next step, join our school community and explore the courses available there. You do not have to figure your health out alone. So that is school, SKOOL.com, and it is the Health with Hashimoto's community. I'll see you next time on the Health with Hashimoto's podcast.